The Acolyte certainly divided Star Wars fans, but whether you love the series or hate it, I hope we can agree that there were some really cool looking characters that we need to see in LEGO. These are the top 12 Acolyte characters I want to see in LEGO, and all of these renders come from CBA Bricks 3D on Instagram. I'll start with the least interesting characters I want to see in LEGO and move towards the ones I really want to see as the video goes on, and up first is Master Torbin. I didn't really like his character. I kind of felt like I didn't get to know him before he was killed off, but that will be the case with a couple of our characters here. I think he would be cool in his older outfit, although it would be nice to see him as a young Padawan. Speaking of characters that got killed off, let's talk about Master Indara. Now I feel like she was the most reasonable Jedi in the series, so I did enjoy her when she was on screen, but it was just a shame that she was killed off so quickly in the series. I'd like to see her in LEGO, probably a version from the flashbacks rather than her older version, but either one would be good. The weirdest inclusion in the series for me was the random cult of space witches, headed up by Mother Anastasia and Mother Coral. Now what on earth was going on here? I'm looking at the power of one, the power of two, the power of many, but putting that aside, I would actually quite like to see Mother Anastasia in LEGO. I'd especially like to see how LEGO would do her hairpiece. The main characters in the series were the mysteriously created twins, May and Osha, and I'll be honest, I found them the least interesting part of their own series, and I think that says a lot about the characters in this series, but still, there were some good ones. We'll come to those in a bit. But let's talk about May and Osha. Now they go through quite a number of outfits in the series, and I would like to see a number of those. For instance, May's assassin outfit at the very start of the season would look great in LEGO, and Osha's dark side transition at the end of the season would also look good. It would also really be cool to see a minifigure of May disguised as Osha, perhaps in a set of the ship that she's on with Sol, and it would also be great to see the original Osha outfit, and I think a little minifigure of Pip to go with both of those minifigures would be cool. Jeki was an interesting Jedi Padawan, and I thought her character was pretty good overall, although I was surprised when she was killed off because she was set up to be quite a big character in the series. I'd really like to see her in LEGO, especially to see how LEGO would do a head mold for her. A lot of people told me that Yord was an annoying character, but I think his character perfectly showed just how naive and cocky the Jedi were at this point in the Star Wars timeline. I think he had a great outfit, especially with those white robes, which perfectly matched the aesthetic of the High Republic. But the main thing I'd want to see from a Yord minifigure is a yellow lightsaber. LEGO should have done this in last year's Millennium Falcon holiday diorama and given Rey a proper yellow lightsaber, but they just gave her a green one and got the colour totally wrong, so this is their chance to redeem themselves and give Yord a yellow lightsaber. One thing I really appreciated about the Acolyte was the ton of alien characters that were featured, including Basil the Tracker. I'd love to see him in LEGO, and I think this render from CBA Bricks 3D shows just how well LEGO could do this. They could give him some little binoculars, a special face print to represent his species, and some small legs to represent his height. And another thing that was really cool about the Acolyte is the character of Kelnaka, a live-action Wookiee Jedi. I love this character. I thought his design was fantastic. LEGO's already made Wookiee minifigures in the past, so they could definitely make Kelnaka. Now we've reached the top 3 characters from the Acolyte that I want to see in LEGO, and at number 3 we have Vernestra Rwoh. I thought her character was really interesting. It showed how the Jedi were trying to preserve themselves, and her character design was really cool. I know she'd been featured in some of the High Republic books, but I hadn't heard of her, and I really liked the design that they went for. At number 2 we have Master Sol, and I feel like Sol was treated pretty poorly in this series. All he wanted was to protect Osha, and instead, spoiler alert, Osha killed him. Yep, it was pretty tragic. But I'd love to see a minifigure of Sol. He has a couple of different outfits, including his Jedi Temple outfit and his mission outfit. Those would be great in LEGO. It would also be cool to see a set of his ship that he flies around in, as that's probably the most recognizable ship from the series. And it should come as no surprise that the best character in the Acolyte and the LEGO minifigure I want to see the most is Kymir, also known as the Stranger. He was an amazing Sith Lord, and he had such a menacing presence whenever he was on screen. His lightsaber fighting style was epic, and his character design was amazing, particularly that helmet. I saw Hasbro were already making a life-size version, so LEGO needs to make a Kymir minifigure.